Okay. All right. I'll see you soon. There was a man that for some time hated his shadow, and he wanted to get rid of his shadow. So he devised a plan. He would dig a pit and then stand in the right place at the right time so his shadow would cast into the pit. Then he ordered men to cover over his shadow so he could be rid of it once and for all. And as the men were filling the hole back in, he stopped them and said, "Can you see my shadow now?" And they said, "We can still see your shadow." Or keep filling the hole in. And he stopped them once more. "Can you still see my shadow?" And of course they could. And eventually the hole was full and the shadow sat on the surface of the hole. Now this story has many correlations, but the first that we will use is relating it to meditation. When you sit in meditation, you often think to yourself, "I must defeat my thoughts. I must remove my mind. I must go into the world of oblivion and connect to the purity of spirit." The more you battle your mind, the more you reinforce it. The more you struggle with your thoughts, the stronger they become. It is not burying thoughts like you are burying your shadow. Rather, it is concentrating on what is important. So rather than concentrating on your thoughts, concentrate on what is true, the act of awareness. Place your attention on your attention. Watch yourself watch. Be conscious of what you are conscious about, or of being conscious, I should say. So it is awareness, being aware of awareness. And then in certain time, the thoughts will stop by themselves. If you are so focused on watching, then there is nothing that needs to be watched, because you are aware that you are aware. And this is the true journey inwards. And if you were just to take right now, just 1 or 2 seconds, you would see that there is consciousness watching an object, watching a screen, watching your pen. Hold your attention there. And then you will move from conscious of something to awareness of potentiality to see everything. You cannot defeat your shadow. It is a natural part. But by understanding the shadow and concentrating on the true self, then the shadow disappears by itself. there is nothing to look at. And the mind becomes open and clear and illuminated. And you step beyond either the left or the right side of the mind into the act of consciousness. And then into true awareness beyond. Now, some time ago, I set you a challenge. If you wanted to take it, which arises first, your left side of your mind or left side of your brain or the right side of your brain? Well, this takes you beyond either of those. It becomes very difficult when you are just conscious to even find an aspect of mind. And yet mind seems to be everywhere, yet you cannot find it. At best, you will find a pocket of knowledge somewhere, a pocket of memory somewhere else, and the sense of being that sits in the middle. So your act of consciousness or concentration at first will reveal many depths to life. For example, when you brush your teeth, do you do all of the teeth or just part? Are you up and down or clockwise or anti-clockwise? Are you just the front or the back as well? So the act of concentration puts you back into the truth of you, or at least nearer to the truth of you. Being aware of how you comb your hair, how you tie your laces. How many times do you chew your food? And if this is done truly mindfully, then there really is no mind. And when there's no mind, then there is a flow of potential. And the joy of love begins to be found. This exercise or process is one of clearing away the debris between you and your non-physical you. If you want, between the body and the soul and the spirit. Each time you are truly aware, you open a portal to all realms. And if the flow of knowledge comes through, then that is wonderful. If the flow of love comes through, that is wonderful as well. But there is the presence of being that is there all the time. So in a moment, we will have the healing list. And after that, we will have any questions that you may wish to ask. Next week and the week after, our final 2 weeks for this year, then you may ask or send to Brandon a topic that you would like me to talk about. This is different to a question. A question may be personal and perhaps short in its answer, but the topic may be longer. And if you send that to Brandon and not to the medium, so that there is no thought of any research prior, and then you will feel that the answer has come from somewhere deeper as well. So let us continue. Brandon, do you have a healing list for me now, please?
Yes, I will be the gatekeeper of topics presented for next time. Okay, India and family, Maddie, Steve and Denise Wareham, Holly Norton, Karen S., Graham and Wendy Beck, Craig and Amanda, Jonah and Tia. Thank you.
So let us carry on. So Brandon, do you have a first question for me?
Yes, first question is from Wendy. Wendy, would you like to ask your question?
Yes, thank you. And first, thank you, Ignatius, for taking our questions and for everything, for your presence. This is from a couple of weeks ago. You talked about our desire, our natural desire, when it turns to frustration and then to anger, and then the anger causes more separation. Sometimes I'll say something that triggers my husband, and he goes from desire to frustration to anger quickly. And I know that it's because he wants to be cherished and loved. What's the best way to assure him I love him and to reestablish our connection when he turns away?
Thank you for your question. So you see, your husband has a sense of lack right at that time. He has a fear. He has a difficulty that he may express in words, but in essence is based from his loss of understanding who he really is. So where anger arises in its extreme, when in essence he really wants the connection. So the secret is, of course, to return the person to connection as soon as possible. Now, you cannot do that. You cannot then plug him in back into unity and everything will be well at the flick of a switch. However, is anger that arises, is frustration that develops, is a sign for him of what he needs to deal with. So, for example, if he is being, in his eyes, disrespected or avoided or anything else, then that is his issue that he should work with. Now, he is not in the frame of mind to understand that. So all that you can do is hold your truth, your light, your love. Be fully present, do not back away. So in fact, you walk closer to him rather than closing heart and mind, which would be the natural instinct. If someone is anger towards you, the first thing people do is close up to protect themselves. And that seems perfectly valid. But if you just, instead of stepping back, step forward, and step forward with an open heart and feel the pain that the person is expressing. Although this will be more difficult for you, it'll bring the two of you closer together and quicker. So it's not avoidance, it's standing towards. And it's standing towards them with openness and clarity, as a reflection of your truth, of your light, of your love. You are but the mirror. And if you were to mirror to your husband the anger, or he sees a sign of that anger in your eyes, then the fire will perpetuate for a little longer. But do not go into that fear yourself. Go into the love and light yourself. As someone is expressing anger or frustration towards you, then your lesson is also there. Can you be open and clear and know what you are seeing is not the truth, but an expression of the illusion? An expression of the illusion of what is around based on false beliefs. At that moment, he has lost his love. But if you show him your love back, he will find it all the quicker. He put down love, picked up frustration, but by you showing love, he will pick up love once more quicker. And in addition, he will feel heard and respected. In addition, you will also learn the lesson of love and light. And the two of you will find the connection, the third point between the two of you. And that is the connection of purity beyond the individual self. And therefore, you are the light of love and have not lost your love. It will be very tempting for you to respond in kind. If you do, then you have not learned your lesson, and you will face it again. So open your heart, step forward, listen purely, know that you are shining your light, being confronted by dark. And light will always conquer dark. It's just a matter of time before the door opens and light is allowed in one time. Does that answer your question sufficiently?
That's a wonderful answer. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. It is returning yourself and other to truth. Brandon, do we have another question?
Yes, next one is from Amanda.
Hello, Ignatius. How are you?
Good morning, my dear. I am well.
I've always, ever since I started, I've always dealt with my guides, and now I've been made aware that I have angels who want to work with me, and I don't know who I'm supposed to call in, so I called them both in, but I think I'm just confusing the issue. How are the guides above or the same as the angels, and are angel guides as well?
Are angels and guides on a level or one above the other?
Yes.
I believe that's the question. Is that right?
Yes.
Yes. Well, it depends on your viewpoint, doesn't it? If you become, or if you were from a particular religious organization, you may look up and see angels as sitting around the seat of God. You may also, again, look up from another viewpoint and not believe in angels at all. So the truth of your answer is twofold. First, where are you viewing from? What is your belief? And second, what is actually the truth? So one is looking up and one is looking down in terms of the direction of where you could possibly sit. Now, in essence, of course, everything is one. Everything is the unified awareness of all things. And therefore, you may say to me, then where is this individual personality of, let's say, of a rich man or a poor man? Where does that exist? Well, in essence, of course, it is both the same identity. One will express in a different way to another according to the beliefs and according to the desire and according to the situation of the individual receiving the message. So if you are one that needs a message a certain way, it'll appear for you a certain way. If you are a person that likes to work in the pure, or what you describe as the purity of existence, and think angels are it, then angels will be present. So really, your question is, am I evolving? Is there a change to my spiritual connection? And to answer the question truly, we must look within you. And as you begin to evolve within your own understanding, you may then evolve what you would describe as levels, from level 1 to level 2. And then, if you perceive that there is an angel realm, then eventually you will arrive at an angel realm. Now, as you leave your physical body on whichever date that is, then you will go to the place that you are balanced with. So your vibrational rate, you will go to the appropriate vibration. You will leave, obviously, assets in the physical world, but you will take with you everything you have learned. And if you have learned negativity, of course, you will go to the point of a heavier vibration compared to somebody who's learned, let us say, light and love. And these are different realms which, in essence, exist within an astral world of thought. However, if you leave the physical world in the purity of knowing all that exists is one and is God, then you would leave all those vibrational rates behind and sit in and with God. Now, in order to do that, then there must be lessons learned, issues dealt with, compensations made, etc. But there is a shortcut there as well. And that shortcut is dedicate everything in your constant calling of the name of God, the surrender of everything that is achieved to and from God. And let God be your sole focus and your sole mind. So on departing, your thought is only of God. And what is a higher vibration than the negativity or God? And that is where you would go. So if you wish to improve your vibrational rate, then of course think and do higher vibrational things. And if you think of the practice that I have given you, the mantra that you use, does that now correlate to your answer? So again, the answer for you is how you wish to view. Where do you view it from? But also, what is it you are aiming for? So if you're aiming to be the clearest and brightest and most open channel of either knowledge or love or presence, then you need the purest and clearest and most open mind for that to work through. So guides and angels are dependent on the individual. In some cultures, they will say that there is no angels, there are just demigods or sub-gods, or gods are in different layers, but these are really expressions of the quality of the one self, given different names and different tasks. You see, the answer to the question I could give you is either one way or another, and that would depend on the individual. So if an individual was desiring of angels, then my answer, yes, of course there are angels. If that individual was desiring of truth and clarity, then there is a different answer again. If there is a person that's desiring to just get onto the first level, then the words guides and angels may be very alien, I suppose, to that person. But you may say, there are higher choices to be made. So the words that are being used are a reflection of the appropriate person, and the answer would be a reflection of where that person is. So hence you can ask, different people can ask the same question, will get a different answer. But I have tried to answer for you both in where you are, where your heartfelt desire is that you want to be, and answer or give you the clarity of understanding beyond the simplistic into the totality, because I know within you, you have the fear of being limited, and yet I give you the tools to be unlimited. Now you must pick your next direction. Do you want to believe in guide or angel or God? And when I say God, let us call it the absolute, the unifying factor. Spirit, if you prefer. The universe, if you prefer that. Now, if you think of my answer, Amanda, it is consistent with the direction that I have been leading you toward. Clearing away what is in the way of the light which lies behind. Trust the mantra, trust spirit. And discover for yourself, and do not take the words, but look into also the images, the impressions, the feeling, and see what is there and what is true. You are limiting yourself by saying guide or angel. But that may be the way you most feel comfortable with. But do you understand, my dear? I don't
Yeah.
wish to make it more complex.
No, you've sorted it out completely. Thank you, Ignatius.
Brandon, another question, please.
Yes, next question goes to Malada.
Hi, Ignatius. My question is about a time of introspection. I had an astrology reading, and I've also had several mediumistic readings and tarot readings where there seems to be a suggestion that there will be a time of more so going within before going outward again. And I just wondered if there was any advice from you as one of my beautiful guides on this topic.
The answer is best described in an image. And I have given this before, and I give you clarity once more. But one's beginning this journey, you ask them and you say, look within, do your work. Don't chase the external world, but look at the internal world. And they begin that process. And then the process of what we are picturing as the hourglass starts. So they start at the broad top and begin to look inwards. And they come to a point where the next step takes them to, let us call it challenge, difficulty and problem, and their life gets what they believe is shuffled around, and there can be great pain and great changes for many people. Changes where their life is so different physically. And in this narrow channel, this dark cave, this tunnel, then all of these channels, so forgive me, all of these experiences, all of these negativities, false beliefs must be looked at and known that they are just the play. They are the clarifying, the cleansing, the washing away. You could say it's like the birth canal, and someone will be birthed into their new self in time. But this channel may be incredibly difficult, or it can be breezed through depending upon the amount of work the individual has done before. If they arrive at this channel too soon, not having dealt with or have a true understanding of themselves and dealt with some of their difficulties, then that process will be more traumatic. But eventually, the birth of the individual takes place. And this is the birth of the true self. And they look into the light and see the light. And is it not painful to the eyes at that stage? Is it not confusing? And does the person not want to go backwards? I use these words because they are in your mind. And do they not want to go to the comfort of their old seat? Do they not want to turn away from the light because it is too hard, too difficult, too painful, and the darkness is so captivating? At least I knew where I was. But with a little bit of time and the support of another, then the hand of the aspirant is held. And one says to that aspirant, just stay a while, become accustomed of where you are. And in a short period of time, the eyesight begins to open and to be clear. When the light that they now see begins to become softer in their belief. And that light, that new self, illuminates a new world. Would they go back then? Well, they have the choice then to go forward, to walk one step in front of the other into more and more expressions of light. But in that first step, the Bodhisattva is born and says, I see the light, I know the truth, but I must go back to lead all the others to hear. Now, the awakening into light is a small step, followed by a small step, by a small step. So like opening the door from a dark room into light, just the merest crack in the door would allow a light to come through, which is the same light as on the other side, of course. And it adds an intensity in the room that one even used to that dark would shun away from. Yet you must leave that door just slightly open for the one to walk out into that light. So many people get glimmers of their truth before they step into their truth. They get glimmers of the reality of spirit before they totally embody spirit. So those understanding this journey, or forgive me, those taking this journey, as they begin to get ready for the light, they get more and more connections to the light in perhaps very small ways, but to them, very big way. If you like, that is the preparation. The little crack in the door, just getting them used to the light on the other side. But if you are to be a guide, a helper, a bodhisattva, you cannot do it from the dark side. You must have an understanding of the bright side. Otherwise, what would you say? It will always just be a play of one darkness talking to another dark. So often on the dark side, you get false gurus, those who profess they know the truth, but in essence just dance in the dark. Those who have self-interest, and those who are just lost, and in essence are seeking their own light by professing to know what the light is. But one who knows the light is in no doubt. One who knows. There is no possibility of not knowing. If you embody and realize that light, it is then within you forever. You cannot go back to that 100% dark. Do you see the phrase, first find spirit? Do you also see the phrase, let spirit do the work? Do you also see, I have come into your dream to wake you up? So if you wish to be, or let me be correct, if the light wishes to work through you as a guide and helper for others, you must step forward into the light and face the pain in your eye, knowing you are becoming accustomed to the truth. And then return to the darkness as a being of light for others. Now, this whole process is in fact a play in itself, because all beings are in that light and just come into the darkness and are covered by it. And hence they need reminding of their truth. So again, the viewpoint is important. So my advice to you is bathe in the light. For some time now, I've been telling you that you are and will be the light to guide others. Have faith in that light. Trust in that light. Know the hand of others is there for your support. And then ask the light by going into your depth and say, what will you have me do? You see, others think that what I will do will take me to the light. That is not the right way. It's not about doing at all. How's that answer?
Thank you, Ignatius. Thank you so much from all my heart. Thank you.
Brandon, is there time for one more?
Yes, we don't seem to have any more, so I can ask mine for last. Some gospels uses the term sanctified soul to avoid any misinterpretation from mankind. Can you explain what is the intended true meaning of sanctified soul? Thank you.
Well, a soul in essence still plays the play of awakening. So it believes it's incomplete and therefore desires completion. And a soul with a little viewpoint knows that completion is possible. and there is a unified self, or if you like, a home. And the soul then, trying to get home, looks under every corner, around every corner, under every rock, and desires the experience of its true self. And therefore collects life after life, experience after experience, in its journey to return to truth. So the sanctifying of soul, in essence, is letting the soul know that it is already home. It is already pure. It is already bright, and it is already one, not many. So if you remember, there are two plays, the play of the physical self and the play of the soul self. The soul looks at the play underneath it, but knows that there is no play above it. So the soul is also trying to know and understand what is in the way of its true expression. From the spirit's point of view, it is all just a thought. And if they let that thought go, then there is nothing to do and nowhere to go. So sanctifying is, if you would like, purifying. If you would like, unlimiting, being full expression, being broadest, being most open, allowing. So the soul then, even if it is continuing in the light, in the play, will bring through the light. So let us say halfway through a particular lifetime, the soul then realizes its truth. And it opens and then disappears and realizes that it was only ever spirit after all. So then the purity of spirit flows through unlimited into the physical life. And you may get a being of light or an enlightened person. So there are two types of people. There are ones which awaken during the life, let us say at halfway. They awaken, the light is turned on, and there is an expression. And you can see these in history in some of the great beings that you would mention. For example, Buddha. Now, there are also beings which are born enlightened, born in the physical world enlightened. So they are born, if you like, without the limited soul, but with the truth of light flowing through the physical body. So there is no awakening during the life. There is just enlightenment from day one, if you would like. And then they are an expression and can talk on the deepest topics at the deepest time at the youngest age. two examples. Shankara and Jesus. In Jesus' term, the Christ was flowing through that physical body prior, well, at the start of the physical birth, and therefore is represented as being a bright light within moments of his birth. And these beings come for very specific missions, for very specific time frames. So both only lived in their 30s. Well, Shankar only lived in his 30s. But both came with the expression of light in the world to change the world, to put it onto a new direction. So sanctifying the soul is, if you would like, opening or even destruction of soul, if you would like. And what I mean is destruction of individual soul. So it becomes the truth of spirit. Many people in your physical world are opening and opening to allow more and more light. So you could say they are destroying their soul. Of course, people do not like that term. But when I say destroying, I mean unifying. Some time ago, there was a talk given about the multiple levels within the astral world, but you believe it's the spirit world, where there's a level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. If you listen to that description, at level 7, there is less and less individuality. The desire for birth is minimalized, if at all. And a level 7 would be looking to the heavens and knocking on the door and wanting Tureya, unity, the final step into truth. And then there is no individuality. The truth then is seen as a whole. So again, this connects to Amanda's question of angels and levels. That if the individual wants to see an angel, then that is what it is. The truth is, there is only spirit and only light. Is that sufficient for you, Brenda?
Yes, it is. Thank you, my friend.
Now, our time is done, I believe. Would that be true?
Correct.
My mission has been to hold my hand to all so that they may come from their dream into their truth. God bless you. Oh.